Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Binding of Isaac video. I promised a while back I was going to keep you updated on any news involving the Binding of Isaac Repentance, the new and upcoming Binding of Isaac DLC. So, here I am, 9 months later. Better late than never, right? I'm going to go through everything that has been posted about Repentance, walking through what has been documented on the wiki, but also trying to go a bit deeper into what some items do that we know will be added to the game. For those that don't know, Repentance is based off of the Anti-Birth mod, so we know enough about what is going to be added. Without further ado, in chronological order of when things were kind of released, let's hop right in. On August 30th, the reveal for Repentance was announced, inciting hype into the fans for the DLC to come. Shortly after, at PAX 2018, a demo version of Repentance was available for people to play, and it introduced the Downpour floor from Anti-Birth, as well as a new sewer-themed alternate floor for Downpour, Dross. I'm not going to show any footage from PAX itself, as I don't really own any of that footage and I'm really not looking for a lawsuit, but we did learn a lot during PAX. We found that Booster Pack and Consolation Prize from Anti-Birth would be returning. Booster Pack is a shop and boss item that gives 3 random cards. Consolation Prize is a boss item that raises Isaac's lowest stat and grants him 3 coins, 1 bomb, or 1 key, depending on what he has the least of. Both of those are pretty good, in my opinion, as boss items. We also learned many enemies and bosses would be returning as well, such as Baby Plum, Wormwood, and Lil Bub, formerly named Beelzebub in Anti-Birth. We also learned there will be a new boss in Dross, known as Clog, and he's just a massive poop, as per usual with Isaac. We learned a few new items as well during PAX. Spin to Win, an active item that grants a spinning wheel orbital that deals contact damage to enemies when held. Vade Retro, as seen in this clip, is an active item that causes enemies to spawn a stationary ghost on death that will then explode when you activate the item. This turns enemies into more ghosts, etc., etc. And Plum Flute, which is a drop from Baby Plum if she is still alive in the fight after a certain amount of time. And that's going to work similar to Monstro's Tooth and bring Baby Plum to the fight to fight alongside you. Giant Cell will spawn a familiar every time Isaac takes damage that follows Isaac's movements and fires weaker tiers than Isaac does. This isn't great in my opinion, but I also haven't played Repentance, so I can't tell you whether or not these items are strong or not. Tropic Camide, I'm going to do a pronunciation check on that one, but it's a damage and a tears up. I'm not sure if it's a boss item or an item room item, but hey, damage and tears is almost always good, so I welcome it with open arms. And finally, Vasculitis, which appears to cause a number of blood shots to come out from enemies when they die. I'm assuming this is similar to like a varicose veins, but once again, I don't have any footage for these. This is just kind of word of mouth type stuff, so I can't give you true feedback on how good they actually are. So we'll take a look at a couple of clips here. In this one, you can see some new lighting effects in Downpour, but we can glean some more stuff from this as well. So the item UI on the right side of the screen, as you know in Afterbirth Plus, this is much smaller now, and we can also see an Anti-Birth item in their Lodestone. This is an item that adds magnetizing tears, which is not really like Strange Attractor. They attract other enemies, Isaac's tears, and enemy shots, including their own. It's kind of Strange Attractor, but much better. But still seems a little bit dangerous, so I guess we'll see. Another Anti-Birth item proven to return are Knockout Drops, and Knockout Drops add a chance to fire Fist Tears, which have massive knockback and stun enemies. They knock back enemies and then deal contact damage to other enemies they collide with when knocked back, so that's a pretty cool kind of combo synergy there. They scale with luck, which is also always good, and you can kind of see in this clip that there's a fun synergy here with Papula Duplex for the huge tears, and then My Reflection for the boomeranging. These were 2 synergies that were not available in Anti-Birth, so it's kind of cool. And in this clip, we also see that Big Boy, which is a bit of a new thing. We don't often see enemies that are very differently sized in Isaac, so maybe that's a direction they're going, and I like it a lot for the little added variety. As for other Anti-Birth items returning, we also know that Anti-Birth Jacob's Ladder will be returning, but it will be renamed since Jacob's Ladder is already in the game. And for those that don't know, Anti-Birth Jacob's Ladder basically generated a ladder in the starting room of each floor that then led to an angel room, so pretty good and pretty strong. I'm excited to see that one in the game. And finally, Freezer Baby, which is an anti-birth item, will for sure return. We have a clip of it that I'll probably put here, but you'll see again later as we dissect it a bit more. And this is just a simple familiar that fires some freezing tears. As for returning trinkets, we know that Broken Padlock and Devil's Crown will return. These will be seen in some of the clips later on. Broken Padlock makes it so explosions can open locked doors and chests, which effectively removes keys from being important. That's a pretty solid trinket early game. Devil's Crown is a trinket that replaces treasure rooms with red treasure rooms, offering a devil deal in place of an item. This is a very interesting mechanic that I can't wait to mess around with, as that is pretty unique. So now we can take a look at some fun gifts that have been posted on Twitter by the devs, and we'll dissect them a little bit. So this first one shows the new mines floor and features the red bombs from Anti-Birth. These are infinitely spawning bombs in the room that may be needed to access switches or kill bosses, wink wink, hint hint. As for other things in this GIF, we do see a new animation when popping Yum Heart, which is kind of cool that they're doing some reanimation. We're going to see that again later. But we also see a new item in the UI. It's some kind of bloody PhD looking thing. Not sure what that's all about, and we don't have much more information on that. This screenshot was posted by Kilburn on Twitter, and it shows that items will have shadows again, like in the old game when they are on pedestals. It's a quality of life change, but it still looks very nice. It's a bit weird that he showed all of these in an angel deal, so maybe there's something more going on with that we can speculate, but that's about all I know. This GIF has a ton to unpack. So we see that Mom's bracelet from Anti-Birth is visible. This allows for picking up obstacles and throwing them, as we can see in the GIF, but there's much more going on the screen. So tiers will now be truly circle and not weird polygons. Champions have new colors similar to Anti-Birth champions. The enemies we see here are also new as well. So new enemies coming in, which we knew would happen. And once again, we see the funky new UI for the items. I don't know how I feel about that yet because it just looks so different, but I'm sure it's going to be much better to see everything. And you can finally see the animations just look cleaner on enemies. They're not as stationary, they're much more fluid, and that's exciting because the game's just going to simply look a lot better than before. This GIF has a ton going on as well. We see a Bighorn fight with someone that doesn't really look like Bighorn anymore. They completely redesigned this guy. He has new animations such as the splashing water when the hands slam, and the pits having the actual water effect on them. You can also see the lit fuse animation on the troll bombs, which is also in Anti-Birth. We see that Flooded Caves now has the water reflection similar to the Anti-Birth floor downpour, so there is a bit of an overhaul as a whole with the game. But finally, the most important thing in this GIF, the items. We see that Marked now has an indicator as to where the cursor actually is, and it's affecting where Brother Bobby is shooting as well. This is huge. It actually makes this item usable because you can see where it is, and your familiars are going to fire in that same area. We also see Sulfur, an Anti-Birth item that allows for a temporary Brimstone Beam from Hell, pretty strong. And another really interesting thing to note is that the tier stat can now be a decimal value, which means that some of the stats in the game have simply been entirely reworked. That could be good or bad, but it's definitely interesting. In this final GIF, we see a new variant for the Butt Licker enemy, but we also see Devil's Crown, the Anti-Birth trinket. It also appears in the UI on the right, so trinkets may appear there now, meaning that smelted ones could be seen as well, since you may forget what you smelt on your run. Freezer Baby is here doing his thing. Another interesting one is that the Angel Deal and Devil Deal appear to be combined. This is likely because of Isaac having duality. Book of Belial has a very new and clean animation, which looks just fantastic. And lasers have a new animation and will become bigger with a higher damage stat. That's an awesome change. Goes back to how Isaac was in Flash, and it appears like they're doing a lot of changes like that with Repentance. You can really see that change when Book of Belial is popped if you can't seem to pick that out. Finally, in this clip, we see a couple of new and interesting animations. We see that the Wretched now has some bouncier jumps that make him look a little bit more animated. Maggie has some new hair, which a little bit of a strange change to make, but it looks good, so I can't really say much. But the most important thing in this clip is that Littlehorn now has a proper animation when it insta-kills an enemy. It kind of pulls them into the ground, Bighorn style, and it looks really really good. We can also see that in the top left there is a new active item. It looks a little bit like blank card but for a rune, so I don't know if that's maybe blank card rune or something like that, but it's not used in this clip, even though he does have a Yara rune in his inventory there, so maybe that's a sign that that's a blank card rune active item. We also see that there's a new heart at the top. It's some kind of cracked red heart. I guess we'll find more about this in the future, but Anti-Birth did add some new hearts, so maybe this is a way to implement those into the game. So some other changes that Ed has talked about is that Delirium and the Void will receive minor changes. We don't know what those are yet, but changes will be made, which has me hoping for good stuff since I simply hate that floor and fight. I think it's very boring. The Witness, the final boss of Anti-Birth, will be in Repentance. It just will have a name change, so we have to fight that thing with the Keeper. That's a yikes, man. The Anti-Birth characters will also be added, but Edith will not, the scrapped Anti-Birth character. Greedier mode will be rebalanced, but not necessarily easier, is what Ed said. He also confirmed that online co-op will not be in the game, but that there is a chance that true local co-op, the mod that many people love, has a chance to be implemented since Anti-Birth also had true co-op. We see that the shaders around the floors have changed. You kind of saw that in these GIFs, that the game just looks cleaner, a little bit, spookier, I think is a good word to use, but mainly just cleaner and smoother, and that's a very big improvement on my part. So finally, we have a bit of a weird one, and Ed has tweeted out two things that he then deleted, both containing a new monster / character. This could be teasing a new ARG type thing for Repentance. My personal bet is a new character, but I guess we'll see. We don't have much to speculate here yet. So we should have some more information from PAX sometime soon, so I'll try to make another update video if I get any more information, but Repentance should come out in December 2019. My bet is it will get pushed to January or February since we still have Bumbo coming out, but we can hope that it'll be December. That's what they're aiming for right now. Thank you all for watching. I implore you to go check out my Anti-Birth content if you want to see some of the stuff that will be coming to Repentance this winter. You have a good one. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.